You'll notice I'm going to do twice, one from my computer and then also from my cell phone, because I'm going to take us out on a quick tour when we go to do that. So if you see that, just a heads up.
Well, I was kind of wondering who S was, but I was like, okay.
That's not me. S is not me. So I'm
Okay.
just getting ready to join right now on my other one.
Okay.
But I figured I would at least log in early so I can make sure this works.
Yeah, that's the same reason why I do, because there was, I don't think it was last month, but a couple months ago, my computer froze and everything was locking up, and that gives me like panic and anxiety. And so I was like, I'm gonna get on early.
It happens. Gotta love technology when it works.
Exactly. Okay.
There we go. Yeah, so if you see two of me, it's okay.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
And your correct title is executive director?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I introduce you properly.
Some days that could be, janitor. Some days, yeah.
Yeah, my actual title is curator, but it's, jack of all trades, have to stock the bathrooms with the toilet paper, have to change a light bulb, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you just never know what day it is.
Sometimes it's running the store,
Yep, exactly. It's a little bit of everything. Well, I hope this topic is okay, and I hope it helps some people, because like I said, it sure helped us. So I was just like, I really think if people knew about this resource, it would.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, my assistant, who was actually in charge of our gift shop, can't, since I'm on the call, she can't really be on the call. So she can, if she ducks in, or maybe she can go back and watch it.
I'd be happy to talk to her one-on-one too. So I do a lot of that.
We'll give it a few more minutes to see if anybody else jumps on. Hope everybody's having a good Friday so far.
Sorry about that. I have a stand-up desk and I unplugged it and all of a sudden my camera went away. So sorry about that.
That's okay. Like we were saying, technology's fun while it works.
Exactly. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm frozen. I'm like, what happened? I'm like, oh, I probably, whenever I raise up my desk, it unplugs my microphone for some reason.
Well, I actually moved closer to my internet source, so hopefully I don't freeze up this week. So
I get it. We're in the middle of a cornfield too, so our internet's our number one issue.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I know everybody's usually pretty busy. So happy Friday. I'm Erin Hauser. I'm the current Nebraska Museums Association president. Thank you for joining us today. We're a little bit different this month because of Thanksgiving. So we're on the third Friday instead of the fourth Friday, which we usually are. And we're still determining what we're going to do next month. So we'll have to, if something comes out of this, we'll see what we'll do next month. Today's program or presentation is Museum Stores and the Museum Store Association, presented by Kirsten Parker, the Executive Director of the Golden Spike Tower in North Platte. And if you have any questions, feel free. I assume that Kirsten is more than willing to take your questions. And not everybody has visual or looks like we have a new person, Sherry from Dakota County. She doesn't have video or microphone, so just she'll type it in the chat if she needs to. We are recording this, so if you do want to go back and view it, you're more than welcome to. So I'm going to turn it over to Kirsten.
All right, sounds good. So obviously museum stores right now are a hot topic going into the holiday season, and so I just felt that this was extremely timely. I just felt like it was such a great resource for me when I came to the Golden Spike Tower that I just want every museum to know about this amazing resource that is here for you. So just a little bit of my background. I'm actually celebrating 8 years here at the Golden Spike Tower. So I started 8 years ago last month. And when I came here, my background was public relations. So as an executive director, what they were looking for here at the tower is it was running in the red. They needed somebody to get it in the black. And they also needed to make sure that they had a little bit more support publicly in our community. It was a little bit of a contingency when the Golden Spike Tower opened. There were some lawsuits that happened over if it should even happen and that type of stuff. So I really came in to do a PR thing is what I was brought on for. So of course, when you go on and you take on a museum role, you don't realize what all it encompasses. So we were just joking about how, yeah, my title is executive director, but some days it's plumber, some day it's street sweeper, some days it's education, some days it's curator, some days it's working in the gift store. There's all those things that you just don't even know when you go into those roles of what it is or how to do it. And that's very much where I was. I had no experience in retail other than I love to shop. But other than that, I didn't have the experience. And so when I came here to the tower, the Golden Spike Tower had a little side room that I would say was like the size of a closet that was the gift shop. And then our main area was there. So when customers would come through the front door, you wouldn't even get a greeting until you were well into our building. And so that was something that bothered me. I didn't like the customer experience level that it gave us. Also, in a payroll stance, if I wanted to have the guest have the proper welcome, I had to employ 2 people, one person to welcome and one person to sell in the gift store. So it was just a little awkward of how it worked. And really, we couldn't afford having 2 full-time people taking care of guests, especially during the winter when we may have 20 guests that come through our door. During the summer, when we've got 200 to 300 guests coming in our door every single day, that's not a big deal. But in the winter, that's just, it wasn't a cost-effective way. So I had no experience, no idea. Board of directors, they don't know, you know what I mean? When they give you the keys to the building, they don't know how to operate it. So I really had to learn on my own. And I went out looking for resources. And I found the resource of the Museum Store Association. And what the Museum Store Association, just so you know, it's like $150 dues for the year. I mean, but they taught me everything that I needed to know. They taught me how to do marketing for my gift store. They taught me how to pay for the gift store, how to hire for the gift store, how to do customer service training, how to understand the behind stuff. How do I know what my cost of goods should be? What should my markup be? What should my open to buy be? I didn't even know what an open to buy is. And so I literally needed like gift store for dummies, and that's exactly what it did for me. And then I've been able to elevate the way through. The other thing that I really wanted to know was, how am I comparing to other gift stores? So where should I be? So when the board comes to me and says in my budget, what should our gift store really be selling, and what should they be doing out of the square footage that I have, the type of store that we have, the type of attraction that we have, where we're located in the Midwest, all of that, how much should I be doing? And I apologize, this is a little dated, but this was a big resource for me. It was in 2018 was the last time it was done. And this is literally data, and this was part of my dues that I received, is this industry report that told me exactly how many people should be employed in the gift store, what should I be doing for my cost of goods markup, how much storage should I have, how big should my store be, how much inventory asset I should have, everything that I should have based on statistics. And it's even based on the Midwest. So it's not based out of California, it's not based out of New York, it's based out of your region. And so for that, I appreciate it. So just to give you an idea, when I started 8 years ago, the gift store was making roughly about $90,000. And it had a couple part-time people doing the operations of it. So the executive director, when I came in, I was really the one doing the operations of it. And we were flying by the seat of our pants, and we had a couple part-timers who would help out in the operations of it. Now, as of this year, we will hit $250,000, and we now employ 2 people full-time in gift store operations. So I've actually been able to, this year, hire a second person who is wholeheartedly full-time in gift shop, just operations, making sure it's running, making sure it's stocking, making sure all that's being done. And so I still am very active in it, just because it has become such a pet project for me. And it's still on some growth edge that we still have some potential to do even more. And so it's pushing that even more. But we are very excited about this. We've been able to hire more staff because of it. It helps spread our mission and our vision, and carry our mission and vision out into the community. We use our gift store as community outreach. So that is a fantastic way for you to get locals to support you. And also just people in general across the world with the whole internet. I didn't know how to do an online store, and when things were closing down and we needed to get income for our museum, I went to Museum Store Association and said, teach me how to open an online store. Give me the resources of what do I need to do, and they helped with that. And so there's just a lot of things. Before going into COVID, because we were growing on such a rapid rate, we actually had a plan to do an addition for basically a meeting room, facility room, multi-purpose room that we could bring in Smithsonian exhibits and that type of stuff. And this is in part because we've grown our gift shop so much. Due to COVID, we did have to tap into reserves, so we are a little bit on a little bit of a delay. Surprisingly, this year has been so fantastic that our delay is going to be pretty minimal, so we'll be able to break that addition. But it is truly because this organization has showed me all this. So a couple of things I want to do. I'm gonna switch over to my cell phone, and I'm going to walk you through our gift store, and I'm going to show you how we've kind of changed a little bit. And then a couple of things that I just want to help you be aware of. Of course, the biggest shopping days of the year coming up in about 5 days. And the Golden Spike Tower is considered a shopping destination here in North Platte now. We do Black Friday sales. We do Shop Small Saturday with our Chamber of Commerce. The Museum Store Association that I talked about actually went back in legislature and claimed Museum Store Sunday. So Museum Store Sunday, it's the 5th anniversary of that. So we own the Sunday of the shopping season. Then we also have, of course, Cyber Monday, and then we have Giving Tuesday that helps promote our mission. So we have a 5-day, very event-based, mission-based, come local, support us opportunity that we do. In addition to our guests that travel from outside the world and from different countries, but this and also from different states. But this week or during this Christmas time is really where we focus on the locals come out and support. So I'm going to show you how we've grown that. And then before I switch over, I just want to let you know, I was going to show you the website. I know I don't have control, so I'm just going to tell you it's museumstoreassociation.org. And if you want me to send you, I'll send this flyer over to you, Erin, and you can send it out. So if you want to get some more information about the organization, please let me know. I literally found it by Googling, by researching and doing what I need to do. Some of the things that I have really benefited from it is, again, the education piece. I go to the conferences. There is an annual conference, and so I do go to that, and that's where they put me through a retail boot camp. Like I said, it's $150 dues. I think the boot camp, because of my membership, cost me $99. So it was like a one-day thing, and it literally ran through everything that I needed to do. And so that was fantastic. Another resource that I absolutely love about Museum Store Association, and this right here is worth the $150 annual dues, is in a museum and in our gift store, a majority of our product has to meet a certain mission. Otherwise, we could lose our resale status. And so you have to make sure that your product is fitting whatever your museum is about. So they have a resource of vendors who have already been vetted and understand that we have a certain mission and vision that we have to do. They also understand we can't buy 10,000 coffee cups. You know, we have room in our stock room to maybe store 100 if we're lucky. And so these vendors have been vetted for museum purposes. And so there's an entire network. And so you can go online and you can shop online through those different vendors. They have an online store through Museum Store Association, or you can contact them directly. But they are vendors that understand that we are not like normal retail, because we are not like normal retail. And so there's really some great benefits to that. And then we also have a great source. It's basically like a chat room, and you go in and you can say, okay, I have a display today on blah, blah, blah. So like, great example, we do Rosy Fridays on Saturday. So I could go on to this little chat room and I could say, okay, I have a display on Rosie the Riveter. What do you got? And these vendors will pitch you exactly what they have for Rosie Riveter. They'll tell you their minimums, they'll tell you their cost. You don't have to play the sales game, which I absolutely hate playing the sales game. It's very direct. And so, but they also understand you're not going to be doing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. They understand that you just need a small supply. And so there's great opportunities. So great example, I went on a couple months ago. The Poppet is the number one. If you don't know, if you have kids, you know this. If you don't have kids, you have to buy for Christmas. The Poppet is the number one stocking stuffer of the season. And so, of course, I want to make sure we have a train Poppet. And if you don't know what a Poppet is, I'll show you in a few minutes. But those are those silicone things that you literally, all you do is you press the button in and you press the button. It's the new fidget spinner. And they are the number one stocking stuffer. We didn't have a train. I couldn't find a train from a vendor. I went onto the Shop Talk site and I said, hey, I need a train Poppet. The next thing I know, within 4 weeks, I've got Poppets right here that have been custom made for me. They still cost me only $3 a piece, and I only had to buy 100. That's not heard of when you start to get into the retail business, because they want them bigger. But like I said, these vendors have been vetted so they understand what that means. So are you guys ready for a tour? All right, you're so quiet. So I'm either like talking too fast or y'all are taking a snooze. So here we go. I'm going to switch over to a different phone here.
Kirsten, you need to unmute. Unmute.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Sorry. I had to put my phone in a completely different room so I wouldn't have feedback. So I'm going to flip this around, I'm hoping. I haven't done a virtual tour in a while, so I've forgotten how to do this. So I apologize. Okay. All right. I guess I'm just going to flip you around because I can't figure out how to do it. So this is now our new welcome to the Golden Spike Tower. So when you would walk into the Golden Spike Tower, you would come into an area where there was like a seating area where you would watch a video. Now I'm going to show you the new welcome to what it's like. We did this about 5 years ago. And you walk right into our gift store. So we've been able to move a front desk over here. So that way we're welcoming our guests the minute they walk in. Of course, it's holiday season, so we've got the really big Christmas tree going on. But this is now the welcome. And so we have moved our gift store and taken it from where it was a closet to now we literally took a hallway and turned it into our gift store. So this is kind of our front display. We're having some fun. Our staff gets to favorite thing is that they're going to have this holiday season. They write a note, who is it for? And you know, why would they buy it? So just kind of some fun ways to go with that. So just to give you an idea to walk through, we have a really large ceiling. So we have a really large tree that we kind of decorate around. Sharing our mission, we're going to be having items that talk about what we have going on here at the tower. So of course we talk about the North Platte Canteen. So we have books that we actually created. We worked with the newspaper and our Visitors Bureau to create a book that we can sell. And so those are obviously, books are good sellers for us, but they don't have very good markup. So we have to work with, you know, learning those type of things. We do anywhere from cards, even books and mugs. Now with the holiday season, of course, we could do some holiday stuff because we have holiday educational displays go with it. We had socks created that have trains on them when socks were the really big thing that you needed to do. We do ties, puzzles. Of course, we still do like the candy and drinks and stuff like that. We still do the typical souvenirs. So we have hats, we have signs. I apologize, I'm probably going to make you a little dizzy right now. T-shirts, this is very unique. T-shirts are not a #1 seller for most gift stores. In our case, they are based on our demographic. We do about 20% of our sales are in T-shirts and sweatshirts. It's absolutely insane. We have Nebraska. Obviously, we want to help promote Nebraska and what goes on here. We have a whole North Platte line that we were able to create. This is super fun. They're all hand drawn. Oops, sorry. And so we can do stickers, we can do magnets, we can do dish towels and all that. And it involves our whole entire community. So I was able, even though I had to buy these on like a higher scale, because I could involve other attractions into it, I could break it apart and give them the opportunity to buy into it, which is nice. We have a whole kids department, and especially with Christmas, this is a lot of fun. You know, anywhere from the train bowls and plates to books, to clothing, to stuffed animals, games. We have STEM games. These are those poppets that I was telling you about if you don't know what they are. Excuse me. You literally press the buttons in. That's all it is. It's the craziest thing, but it is huge. Yeah, anybody have kids that you guys have poppets at your house? I was talking to somebody at the local bank here, and she told me her daughter last week wanted a food truck for Christmas. You know, she's like 8. And now she's changed her mind. She wants 215 pop-ups. I said, I can make that happen if you really need me to. We have a kids department. So now I want to show you, this is our new gift store. Now I want to show you what our gift store used to be. And this is now temporary. This is typically a room that we welcome our guests to. We have a little video that they can watch. That right now for the holiday season, we turn it into our Christmas room. This was our gift store. And so this is all we had room for, was about this amount of stuff. And so now this is literally a Christmas haven, and we only turn it this way for the holiday season. And then the other time of the year, it is, like I said, video, multi-purpose. It's a meeting room, that type of stuff. So I'm going to switch over to, I'm going to log off of this one. I don't have feedback. Here we go. Here we go.
But just to give you a walkthrough of a little bit of where we were, it was literally like the size of a closet. And now we've been able to turn that into more multi-purpose room and grow our gift store as much as we have. So I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit about the possibilities of what it can do. Like I said, sometimes the gift store gets overlooked, but reality is it is one of the best engagement pieces of your museum, and it is profitable, and it can be very, very profitable. That will allow you growth for payroll. It'll allow you growth for business, and also for sponsorships and the opportunity for events. So I just wanted to share that and offer you guys that resource that I found to be so valuable. Anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I have a question. Since your store is now your main entry point to the museum, do you have problems with shrinkage, as they call it? I mean, do you have a problem with people stealing stuff?
You know, you would think, but no. So reality is, think of the customer that comes into your door
Well, yeah,
and think
true.
who are the people who are going to thieve. So the people who are walking through your door, one, when they are traveling, because they are tourists, they have expendable money in their pocket.
Right.
They're typically not coming in with a budget, and they don't have monetary concerns. That's not their number one concern. So it is not your typical go into the big box store kid. I will tell you, we do have kids every once in a while. I had one kid loading up on the candy. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden I walked over and I'm like, oh, are you buying some Reese's peanut butter cups? You know what I mean? And that's why you have staff that are out there walking.
Sure.
I budget a 1% loss every year of inventory issues, breakage, stealing, that kind of stuff. I rarely have anything that is stolen. We have about $85,000 in inventory asset right now because of Christmas.
Wow.
We don't typically have. I will maybe have $100 stolen over the course of the year.
Mm.
So good question. Just to put it into perspective, it's going to be kids that are going to do that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and there's an admission to your museum too, right? So
Not an admission into the gift store, but there is to the museum.
yeah. Okay. But you're not in a location where people are coming in to get out of the cold, or I mean, you have, like you say, you have a really pretty specific clientele that are
Yeah, I mean,
seeking you out.
we're in the middle of a cornfield, so they have to specifically drive to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're not on like a main street. They have to specifically come out here to come out here.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But
Great.
yeah, don't allow, like, I think, and I have to laugh because you're bringing this up, because I was actually up in I had a meeting yesterday out of town, and I love going into boutiques and gift stores and see what they're like. And so I went into this one, and they are so focused on that, unfortunately, that it was the most unwelcoming visit I have ever been to. There were
Yeah.
signages of, you break it, you pay for it. You touch it, you buy it. Any returns are only store credit. I never want to go back to that store again. Like, it was so uncomfortable. And what I would love to do is like take that owner and be like, you are so focused on the one-term sale, where you should be focused on the lifelong sale of that customer, of returning to come back to support your mission, your vision, following you online, following your educational programs. And yeah, unfortunately, they were so focused on that. And I'm like, how much do you really break? Like, there was a product that broke while we were there. That product, and I know based on cost of goods, that product cost $6. So you're telling me for $6, you lost me as a lifelong customer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So you definitely want to focus on the bigger picture of what it brings.
So does your museum have a membership, like, or do you give discounts or anything like that? I mean, is that a part of your, what you do?
Yeah, so it's actually a great part of our membership selling. So we give free admission as part of it. So depending on what level, if it's just one free admission or if it's you and a friend or whatever. And then they also get 20% off everything in the gift store. And then they also get invited to, this is where I said like those unique events. So great example, 2 weeks ago, November 4th, we did a members only private friends and family type of thing where we stayed open late in our gift store. They could come, we had a little food, we had a little wine, they could shop, they could go around the museum, they could enjoy themselves at a private time. We made $1,500 off of it because in that 2 hours, they were all shopping. And so they enjoyed that they got the first sneak peek to the Christmas room for the year. And that becomes, again, a membership benefit that people want to be a part of. And then we also, that 20% is either online or in person. So we allow that as well. So yeah, so we tie it right in with it.
Okay, so another question is, what's the system that you use? Your point of sale and that sort of thing, or should I not ask?
Magic question. I hate it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, there is not a point of system out there that anybody likes. I have never had anybody say, I love my point of sale system, everybody should join it. I use the point of sale system that we use because a monkey could run it. It is that simple. It is touchscreen based. It has mobile opportunities and it links to my QuickBooks seamlessly. And so I pay for that. I heavily pay for that. So I use QuickBooks Point of Sale is what I use because it has all of that encompassed into it. A lot of people use Shopify. It's a lot cheaper. And so it's a little bit, I mean, it's got a little bit more back end than what QuickBooks Point of Sale does. But for the volume that we do, we invest in a pretty extensive point of sale system. But I will tell you, there is no perfect point of sale system. They all suck.
Yeah, I think History Nebraska has used Shopify. I don't know if they're still doing that because I'm retired now, but the whole back end part of it was a real nightmare for people. The upfront part of the person actually serving the customer seemed pretty obvious and easy, but then it turned in, I know they are always having inventory issues and stuff didn't reconcile, and I don't know if they ever figured it out or went on to something else. Or I mean, I know Clover is another one too, but
Clover is a great one. There's quite a few different ones. There's like some top 5. Shopify is becoming more prominent. So when Shopify came out, it was an online resource. It was to be just an online gift store. It wasn't meant to be an in-store point of sale program.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people had issues. This last year, Shopify has created it into a point of sale. So now it is pretty streamless. It is a lot easier. We use Shopify for our online store because QuickBooks Point of Sale doesn't have an online store capability. And then we have to purchase a program through QuickBooks that links Shopify to QuickBooks Point of Sale. And so I've been considering going to Shopify full time just because of that issue. But right now, for us, you have to figure out what's most important to you. Is it cost? Is it seamlessness? For us, the accounting piece is well worth it. I mean, it breaks out your taxes for you. It does all your payroll for you. I mean, it does everything. And so for us, it's worth the cost. And we pay like $3,500, well, $4,000 every other year or every 3 years, because you have to do an upgrade every 3 years. And then it's like a $600 investment every year to just do the upkeep. So, but for us, it's worth it. I mean, we're doing 250,000 in just gift shop sales. It also tracks our admissions. It tracks where they come from. We don't do zip codes because we don't feel like that's customer friendly. So we do by state codes. And we put it in the conversation. Oh, where are you visiting us from? Oh, you're from Wyoming. What brings you here? Oh, Levy Log, but they're from Wyoming, and so we do it in that kind of a way. And Point of Sale has the opportunity to let you customize some of those. So, yeah, that's always the magic question, though, is what's your point of sale system?
So with your with all of the variety of things that you have in your gift shop, which is way more than we do, what do you do with the thing? I mean, how long do you keep something on your shelf? Let's say it's not selling. So how long do you keep that before you discount it, or how do you get rid of it, or do you get rid of it, or does it just get stuck in a box in your storeroom?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple different ways that I look at those type of things. So one, I stopped buying. When I first came here, my predecessor, bless her heart, made the best decision she could at the time with the information that she had. And that was to get postcards at a cheap price, you got to buy them at 20 to 50,000. Okay. So when I came here, I had postcards for 5 years. Those were not high sellers. People want more photography based of what it was. So I really had to sit down and say, okay, what can I do with these? So I really figured out, one, what was my true cost of good on those postcards? Like, how much did it really cost me for those items? And then two, what could I do with them? Because they're not selling. So discounting them, I could probably do, and I could make my money back. So what we did is we did a postcard program where people could just take a postcard and mail it. And then we moved it to a direct marketing GL. So instead of putting them in our gift shop budget, they just got moved over to marketing, and we use those to have people just send out postcards to just get them out into the community. We were kind of a new business, and so this was a great opportunity for the best kind of advertising of word of mouth. So as an example there, Christmas is a great example. We're going to have a lot of Christmas inventory. But what is more engaging for a local community than when you do a 50% off sale after Christmas? And I'm going to make my cost of good back on it. So I'm not going to market for less than what I bought it for, but I'm going to have a busy facility the week between Christmas and New Year's that is typically dead, because I'm going to get those bargain shoppers, and I'm going to get people in here who have never been here before, or they don't necessarily know if they want to come to the museum or whatever. This gets them in the door. And so I can blow that out. The other thing I look at is, what is my reorder availability of them? So if I reorder this particular item, how many do I have to order? So there's a couple items where if I have to reorder, I have to reorder such a large quantity that I don't mind it carrying over year to year to year. And I essentially bought 5 years worth. So for those, I have to look at that. Another thing, if I get like 1 or 2 items that don't necessarily seem to go, I'll make a gift basket. And so instead of, and that's kind of, you know, when you do a bundle or you do a gift basket, it's basically like you're buying 2 items and you get 1 free. So I incorporate that into the bundle cost. And so that item kind of gets taken away in that bundle or in that basket. The other thing I've done is I've used them as donations. How many times do you get a call of somebody that they want a donation on a silent auction, or they need this or they need that? I'll use them as some of those donations as well. And again, use it as marketing, because you have to look at what does that item really cost you versus how much are you selling it for. Because if you sell 2 items, you should have paid, or if you sell 1 item, you should have paid for both items right there. Because your markup in a gift store should be 1.5 to 2.5 times. So you've got good markup that if you have to write off a few things. The other thing I use them for is volunteer thank yous. So if I have something that's not a big seller, I can write a thank you note to a volunteer. I can use them for volunteer Christmas gifts, those type of things as well. So unfortunately, it's not a set thing. I really have to like look at that item and be like, okay, bottle of water, how much did you cost me? What else, what other purpose can I use you for? And how bad do I need to get you off my shelf? I don't do a lot of, I'm not a big clearance fan. Some people do like to do clearance areas. I don't know if it's wrong or right. For me, I don't like to do them because I feel like it cheapens everything else in the room. And we are a higher price gift store. And so I don't want to put a $5 item and have them see this and see a comparable item for $25. And so I'm not a big fan of the clearance section. There are some people that do. But like a great example, we had a bunch of mismatched t-shirts and we didn't have all the full sizes. So what we did, instead of discounting them and putting, 50% off, we set up a whole section that says limited sizes, t-shirts 2 for $34.99. So they are somewhat discounted in there for the price, but they can mismatch their shirts. And they're not so focused on, oh, do you have this in large? Do you have this in extra large? It's based on what this is. So again, it made it more of an event versus here's a big discount.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? I think you've answered all of mine that I had.
And I know your gift shop person couldn't hop on, so feel free to have her call if she ever wants to stop out. We'd love to have her. Like I said, I didn't have this resource. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt overwhelmed when I came in, And all I knew is I had to make a profit. In 2029, we lose some of our funding, and but also our loan is paid off. I have a $23,000 a month mortgage, and that will be paid off in 2029. And so we had to figure out, how are we going to be self-sustaining? And when it comes down to it, to try to get more people in the door in a newer attraction that we opened in 2008, the industry average is you can only grow by about 3.8%. So to try to get up to be self-sustaining and to get that $200,000 in the door, it wouldn't, like, the math doesn't make sense. Like, it just was not going to happen. So we had to figure out, how can we bump that amount of money up, because we have more revenue in the door. And so the question was, we are either going to get more people in the door, or we're going to get more money out of the people coming in the door. So we focused on, how do we get more money from the people coming in the door? And now we're starting to go back and focus, how do we get more people in? But at the rate of trying to get people in, we would never be self-sustaining by 2029. At the rate that we're growing our gift store and encouraging people to spend more money, we will.
So
It's all a math problem.
So, okay, yeah, speaking of math, so approximately I guess, how much of your gift shop budget is like marketing and advertising? I mean, do you have an estimate on how much you do that, or is it just?
Yeah, so for us, we have an overall marketing budget for our overall organization. I don't market our gift store outside of the holiday season. The holiday season is the only time that I market our gift store or do paid marketing. Now, we do a couple posts every single week on social media to promote products, but we don't necessarily advertise it any day of the year. We only advertise it for our holiday Christmas room. And that is our local engagement. We're taking a shoulder season that we don't have a lot of guests, and how do we turn that into getting people in the door? It's not going to be people traveling because of the weather. So it's, how do we get locals out here? And so we do, because we just started this 3 years ago, we do have about a $5,000 budget that I put into it. We will sell $30,000 in 2 months of gift shop merchandise in that, from November to December. And so that 5,000 return is well worth it, especially as we're getting started. But then we'll back that off. But that is the only time that we do any paid marketing for the gift store. So everything else is just, I hate to say it, but it's, how do you get more money from people that are coming in the door? And then we use it as events. So when you come to an event, the gift store is always incorporated into that event. So when you walk in, we hand you a sheet that says, welcome members, or welcome to this event, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, on the bottom, there's a 20% off coupon or a 25% off coupon that if you buy something in the gift store tonight, you get. And so it's always incorporated into every single event that we do.
So for your paid marketing, is it online, or do you do print media, or how do you decide where to place stuff?
Yeah, so for local, for our Christmas season, I sit down with all my vendors. So I sit down with a newspaper, I sit down with a TV, I sit down with a radio, and because of my mission that I want to promote us as a holiday destination to shop for. And for Christmas gifts, that type of stuff. I really look at what events are they doing and how can I team with them in some different stuff. So as a nonprofit museum, I get a better rate, which is even awesome. And they want to give me more stuff because they want to help me spread my mission. And so I ask them, what activities do you have? Can we host a coloring contest that will provide a big $200 gift basket, which it says 200 publicly, but privately, my cost of goods is going to be about 75 to 100. Sure. So can I put this gift basket together and people can do this coloring contest through the newspaper or on social media, they return it and we give this away. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. So we can do trade with them so it doesn't cost. So I really look at what is kind of going on. So coupons are still really big for people, but our newspaper doesn't do a lot of coupons. So it doesn't really fit. So I look at what do they have going on that would fit. So I want to be in Thursday's paper of the Thanksgiving paper, because that's when holiday people are looking, what are they going to shop and whatnot. So I asked the newspaper, what do you have that's different than just an ad? You know what I mean? I don't want to buy. I am not a just tell me what size of ad, but what can I buy? So we're sponsoring so it's literally a pullout in the or on the newspaper on Thursday. That's like a holiday guide, and it has like kids games in it and that kind of stuff. We have the back page of it, and because it's something that's valuable to them, they discounted it heavily for me.
Wow. Great.
Yeah. So radio, again, I work with my rep. Now I tie in some of my radio buys based on if I buy so many ads for the entire year, I get them at a discounted rate. And so I can use them at events throughout the year. And then I save some for those last 2 months. And so I kind of do a bulk buy there. And the same with TV. I do the same thing with TV. I do a bulk buy. So I pulled back on TV this year. I was noticing some changes in our local TV station. And so I have pulled back on that. I have increased my newspaper. And then also newspapers are also getting into more into social media and web. And so I'm tying in a piece with that. And then I always do social media. I mean, social media in our town is huge. And so I always do that. But the nice thing is social media is free, or you could put $5-10 on it, and you're constantly having new content. So I really try to do a good combination. I have a calendar. I don't think I have it here, but I have a calendar that says exactly like what day, what TV ad is running. I also change them every 2 weeks. So over the 6 weeks, we'll have basically 3 different campaigns going on. So that way it freshens it up and people don't get the fatigue from the message. But I like just working with your local media is huge. So I know this sounds big, but again, we're new into this. And so I have a $3,000 buy to my newspaper. I got the back page of that Thanksgiving thing. I have a 4th page ad on Thanksgiving, on Black Friday, on Shop Small Saturday, on Museum Store Sunday, on Cyber Monday, and on Giving Tuesday. And I can do a different ad for all those so it can fit for whatever mission it is that I want to go for. I have 4 4th page ads in their Connect, which is their free magazine that goes out every Wednesday. And I have 6 weeks of online display that will change every 2 weeks. And I have 6 e-blasts that go out to their people for $3,000. So you can see how working with them, they're so happy to have you. You just start throwing stuff at you. And now the newspaper is one of our biggest sponsors when we do an event. They're like, hey, they'll even pay us to be a sponsor.
Well, obviously you're dealing with a different scale than a lot of our smaller organizations have, but man, everything that you're saying about how to work the local resources, I think is super important and can be applied whether your museum store does $2,000 a year or $200,000.
Absolutely. So a lot of the people that I work with, like I work with the MoMA, you know what I mean? Like, and the Met. I'm like in the same caliber of them when I'm in the room at Museum Store Association. And I am blown away by that. And it makes me feel inferior. I'm like, I just 200,000, you know what I mean? And they're like looking at me like, you know what I mean? Like they've got 5 buyers and I'm like, hey, I'm here. But what it does is it gives me aspirations, and it reminded me that I was thinking too small. I was thinking of what I had is all I had. But no, I have the ability to grow it, not to the MoMA level, not to the Met level, but to the Golden Spike Tower level. Yeah. So what is that level and how can I grow it? Yeah. So I can use it to the same extent that they do. It's just going to have a few less zeros at the end of the day. Yeah. But my bills are also a lot less.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so that's why I love this organization. For $150, just to get these resources, you pick and choose what you want to get out of it. If you want to go to conference, you can pay a little bit more money and go to that. If you want to send a buyer, you can send a buyer. What I love about their conference is it has and this is why I went to it, is because it has, it's 4 to 5 days, but it has a combination of education classes and market all in one. So I don't go to 6 markets. You know, like I hear about some of these other museums and places that go to 4 or 5 markets throughout the year. I go to 2. And like the last few years, I've gone, well, last year there wasn't one, but I go to 1. And as long as I make it to NMA, because I get education and I get market all in 1 week. And so it was a cost savings.
Great.
Well, thank you very much. Does anybody else have any other questions? I think you provided a lot of great information for everybody.
Well-
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And if you can email me some of that stuff, we will make sure we'll send it on to April and maybe even Karen to either get it on our website or we can send it out in our next newsletter. So.
Absolutely. Because I'm so passionate about this organization, I actually went back to them and said, can I volunteer for you? So next year I'm going to start volunteering for the National MSA Board to help them, because they're just a nonprofit organization, just like NMA is, you know what I mean? And so very passionate about it, happy to help you, happy to tailor it. Just like you said, you only, you know, some of these gift stores only do 2,000, that's fine, but can you strive to make 2,500 now? Can you strive to make 3,000? So set those realistic goals, and I'd be happy to work with you. If you need vendor ideas, you need merchandise ideas, I'm always happy to brainstorm. I've learned it from the ground up that it has really become a passion for me. So I'm happy to help in any way that I possibly can. And like I said, the financial freedom that it helped us, and the amount of help that it gave us to connect with our community better was so worth it, that I just wish every museum would use it more than just the financial piece, because there's so much more to it that you can use.
Great. So Sherry says, thank you so much. I don't know if you saw that in the chat, but I don't, if there's nothing else, thank you, everybody. I think I got a lot out of it. And again, this has been recorded, so it will be on our YouTube channel. I'm not entirely sure how fast it gets up there. I'm not the tech person, so I don't know about that. But it will be on through our website. You can go to nebraskamuseums.org and it'll be on through, I'm not sure where it is on our website. But again, thank you so much to Kirsten and everybody for joining us. And I hope everyone has a good and safe Thanksgiving for everyone. So thank you again.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks for letting me join and talk about it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.